Hi everyone, it's Kim Gould from Love Your Design here. It's been a pretty full-on couple of weeks and I wanted to take you through the process using the mandala, which should be interesting for those of you who have an astrological background to see. You don't often see the wheel like this, especially I'm going to put it into motion for you. And I want to start out by telling you what happened. We're kind of focusing down here, and I'll show you where the gates are as we go along. So what we had was the Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Venus. We've had them traveling together. So it's this big kind of conglomeration energy moving through these particular gates in Virgo. You can see here this Virgo glyph, and these gates are in that part of the human design mandala. So I've got it set here for the 9th of September. It started about the 2nd of September, but just to keep the video a little bit shorter. So they all firstly moved through gate 64, and you can see here on the 9th, the Sun and Mars are still in gate 64. Now, gate 64 is up here in the head center. And this is a pressure, well, it's an inspiration, and it's a pressure for you to make a transition, for you to say something's finished, something's over, and I'm not sure what's coming yet, but something new is coming. So for everyone on the planet, there was this very personal, because we've got the 4 personal planets, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Venus, all 4 of the personal planets, sitting in this gate that says something's over and something's beginning, and I'm not quite sure what it is. It's kind of this vague feeling. The next thing that happens is they move into gate 47. You can see if I click here, the Sun then goes into 47. So Venus, Mercury, and the Sun move through gate 47. And as it happens, gate 47 is right here. So the energy starts by coming in the head center, and then it goes down to the Ajna center. So this is a process that we're always going through all the time as the planets move around the mandala. So gate 47 says, I need to stay still. I can feel that I've outgrown, but I don't know where to go. So there's this sense of I feel a little bit trapped here in this old reality that's still out there in the world, containing this new energy that's coming through. And that can be quite an uncomfortable feeling. And in fact, that's also sometimes called the gate of oppression, because it can feel a bit oppressive being in this space that's too small for the new energy that's coming in. Now you can see that after that they go to gate 6. So we're actually on the 10th now, and gate 6 is down here. Now, gate 6 is where all of the emotional streams come together. So we've got a kind of all the parts of you are coming together and saying, well, hang on, what's going on? What are you doing? What do you want? Do you want this change? How are you going to adapt to this change? So there's this internal dialogue going on in gate 6, trying to find the way in which all of these emotional stories, all of these parts of you can come together and find some kind of integration. And that requires, here in gate 59, that requires the energy for some frozen, numb, suppressed emotions to come to the surface. And then there's this is actually the gate of dissolution, gate 59, so they dissolve and fall away. One thing that's here is sitting behind, and you can't see it here on the chart, but there's a hypothetical there called Trans-Pluto, and that is about getting stuck in self-sufficiency in order to maintain a kind of perfectionism, a kind of ideal version of yourself. And gate 59 is wanting to crack away or dissolve away this sense of having to maintain your separation in order to maintain some kind of version of yourself. It's an ego self, part of your ego self that is no longer useful to you anymore. You'd have to let this dissolve. Okay, so where do they go after that? Let's just keep following. So 11, 12, there we go. So next they go to 46. Now 46 is a gate that says this is, I'm just trying to get this on here. This is a gate that's you can see pushing upward, discovery, this sense of active growing. I've got this seed that wants to grow, that wants to become something. And I have the energy, I have the not the drive, but really just the energy to move forward, to be, and in fact, I think also some kind of sense of faith in the growing thing. So there's this energy that says, I'm going to move forward. And as I do move forward, let's just keep going. You can see the Sun and Mars have gone into the 47, and now the Sun goes into the 6, and then 18 is the next gate in the process. So right down here in the 18. So I'm just going to go forward to today. So this is where we are now. So we've got Mercury and Venus in gate 18. So this is the next step in the process that says, okay, there's some old beliefs here, some old patterns of beliefs, some old family patterning, cultural patterning that is holding me back, and I need to correct that. You can see that's called work on what has been spoilt. This is the gate of correction, and it says I need to see what is not working for me in these kind of old patterns, DNA coding, in fact, what's coded into your DNA. What I love about this is that sitting here in gate 18 in a long-term transit, it's going to be there for quite a few years, is a dwarf planet called Makemake. And Makemake is about the story that you've put to the back. So you've preferenced a certain story about who you are in order to fit in with the requirements of your family, your culture, your workplace, whatever. And behind that is the real story, or another version of the story that feels a little bit more real. And that's coming through now. So right now we have this process of something coming through, this different kind of story about who you are. Down here in the 58, we have Persephone. Now, one of the things with Persephone is there's this powerful feminine process that needs to come into maturity. It needs to claim its space as queen of the underworld. Persephone started out as a naive girl, but she went through these experiences, and then in the end she had to say, you know what, everyone, husband, mother, uncles, whatever, family, this is who I am. I am this powerful person, and your expectations of me and the roles that I've fulfilled in your life will not contain me. And that's one version of Persephone, which fits with what's going on. Now, up here at the moment, we have Ceres, who was Persephone's mother and is one of the great mother asteroids. The goddess asteroids is sitting in gate 9. And the reason that's important, I think, particularly at the moment, is we have Hades in 52. Now, when we put these two together in this formatting channel here, it says we're called to focus on the small everyday things that will help us to see where we need to take care of ourselves. Ceres is very much about nourishing, nurturing ourselves, and particularly how we have not nourished and nurtured ourselves in the way that we need to, because we have learned that there are parts of us that are not of value within the relationships that we have in our life. So this ties back in with that Makemake idea of the story that wasn't preferenced in our version of reality. Some part of us, we have been told, is not important enough to be able to be part of the story of who we are. And that part's coming forth now, and we are getting the opportunity to focus on it and to be able to see. In fact, we're kind of being held in a place where we have to focus on it, and to be able to bring forth from that a way of finding, in a sense, the road less traveled for ourselves, our own unique way of being nurtured and nourished and whole. So these invisible parts, these less preference parts coming forth and being taken care of and given value within our own ego container. So this is a really huge process, and I know it's taken quite a few people down over the last few weeks. One more thing I just want to mention. Up here you can see Saturn and the South Node, and they're in gate 38. And this is a gate that is about potentially, in, if you like, the shadow side, is about doing it yourself, isolating, becoming self-sufficient. So it ties in with what's happening in this channel here as well. So there is a sense of isolation at the moment. So I want you to look at where you may have been where you may have pulled back in order to keep yourself safe rather than allow a different kind of story or a part of yourself that you've been protecting to come out into the world. So that's all that's going on at the moment. Yeah, just go and experiment with that, and please share your stories if you feel to underneath, because it's really helpful for other people. And of course, I'm just one person looking at this, and your stories actually make it a richer version of what's going on. So see you soon. Bye.